The tagline for this movie should have been, "Come see the alien dead. The editing is more effective than melatonin because we even left in an actor smiling at the camera for some reason." The movie opens up with Tom Corman typing on a typewriter. And apparently this is from the past because he drops the bomb on us, or the cliche, rather. Nothing will ever be the same again. Cut to Mr. and Mrs. Griffin in the swamp looking for gators and talking to each other in an insanely stilted dialogue, calling each other Mr. and Mrs. Griffin. Oh, by the way Mr. Griffin talks completely changes later. Which is weird because they chose such a weird way for these two actors to play their characters and how they talk to one another. I mean, nobody talks like that ever.
May I venture an opinion, Mr. Griffith?
You may, Miss Griffith, but I counsel you to conserve your breath for more fruitful endeavors.
So Mrs. Griffin gets waxed by some force that Mr. Griffin doesn't really know what it is. Maybe it's a gator. Maybe it's a ghoul. Roll the credits with space footage, letting us know that the dead are in fact alien in origin. Gordon, who plays the game warden, goes into the local paper, which is apparently ran out of somebody's garage, judging by the garage door in the background. Well, anyway, he harasses them for some reason. Oh yeah, they didn't cover the fact that he caught an 18-inch bass. The 18-inch bass I caught with my 9-inch dick! One of the reporters notices that on the photos of the bass, it's clearly a baby bass, pointing out the stripes on the sides of the fish that go away with maturity. When the reporter points this out, the game warden protests by saying, "Of course it's a bass! Am I not a game warden?" Yet he manages not to notice that this is also clearly the case in a baby bass. I say clearly, yet we, the audience, don't get to see it. Couldn't they have taken a picture of a baby bass alongside a skewed ruler or something? Something like this. Oh, that is a big bass. Bass, bass, baby, too cold. Cut to Mr. Griffin interrupting a card game to report Mrs. Griffin missing. Tom Corman, who is also a reporter, but wasn't in the reporter garage, offers to investigate while the rest of the police continue to play cards. Okay. Because reporters do most of the police work. Instead of the logical choice of cutting to an investigation for Mrs. Griffin with Mr. Griffin and Tom, we get a random lady that gets killed. She isn't established. She's never brought up again. Nice. Yeah, just linger on this shot with absolutely no sound whatsoever. So after the random killing of the woman, we then meet a woman named Sean, and there's a scene where Tom Corman gets stuck in the mud. I think this is supposed to be funny, but it just comes off as Fred Olen Ray wanting to inject an anecdote about how hard it is to get unstuck from swamp mud. Believe me, Fred. I know. I know. Why is he so sad? This would have been a great plot device where someone is saved because a zombie gets stuck in the mud while chasing them. You know what I'm talking about, right? It's called a callback, where someone is established early in the movie and then brought back in later in the movie. Someone or something, whatever. Typically in a grandiose way, which saves the day or alters the course of the movie. But much like the randoms that get smoked in this movie, the opportunity just lays there all quiet and sad, like a lady who got killed with the sound off. Sean brings Tom back to her house to meet her father, Emmett, and eat possum. We get it. The movie takes place in Florida. This is when the mysterious houseboat is first brought up, along with the theory that it has something to do with the gators that have mysteriously gone missing. Lady gets into a fight with who I assume is Fred Olen Ray. Oh yeah, it is. And then she leaves, whereas she is chased and killed by a very alien-looking man zombie, or ghoul. I'm assuming that this is the famous mask that Fred Olen Ray was so distraught about when a bunch of people broke into his house in Florida and just, stole his cameras and stuff. And he was more upset about the mask getting stole, I guess. I guess he said, please keep the cameras. I just want my mask back. We're then treated to some inane dialogue about what Tom thinks about and what Sean thinks about. And I'm pretty sure what Sean thinks about is 18-inch bass, and this bothers her in the sexy zone. So they decide to go to Bone Town, but when in looking for a bone zone, they find dead Miss Griffin instead. Corman and Buster are then arguing about how the investigation should get treated, and it's great because it randomly gets cut off.
I'm going to investigate the swamp.
And then we're treated to good old Mike the bumbling deputy. Classic. He goes to inform Mr. Griffin that they found Mrs. Griffin, and for whatever reason he decides to torment him about how messed up his wife is, and it's honestly kind of dark.
I'll tell you one thing though, Griff. Her face looked like a plate of corned beef and cabbage. Say, Griff, you want to get a bite to eat? I hear they run the good spaghetti special.
It's played for laughs, but I don't know. It seems like a tasteless joke in a trauma movie. I didn't think it was very funny, and it just made me uncomfortable. The best part of this scene is how it ends on the country band playing all emotionless and Caucasian. Cut to Farmer and his wife getting a big old gang of zombies coming to kill him. It's Jimmy! 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 And old Miss Frying Pan. This is probably one of the most gruesome deaths in the movie, in concept, but not in practice. It's so slow and awkward. Look at the woman standing up. Oh, she's raising up. You're skewing reality for me with a forced perspective. Dirtball Mike stops by the tent, the gas station, the tent station, for a little good old-fashioned pre-#MeToo flirtation. Long whistle. Look at the flatness and the longness of that butt. For whatever reason, this is left in. She's smiling at the camera. I guess breaking the fourth wall is just a little wink from old Fred saying, hey, we have fun. Tom and Sean are still on the search when they come across Mike and Buster, informing them that the autopsy guy says it was a rogue alligator that killed Mrs. Griffin, and they put a bounty on it. Tom and Sean insist that it was things, creatures, ghouls, zombies. They say ghouls. Let's go with ghouls. They try tipping their boat. They check the boat prop and find a sample of the ghouls to bring back to the game warden to test it. As the game warden talks about the dead bodies being drained of blood to the trading post attendee, Tom and Sean burst in blathering about the mysterious sample they collected from their earlier encounter. Remember when I said that this movie was unedited melatonin? Well, put this master shot of dribbling dialogue on repeat and have yourself a dream time.
Yeah, well, we're gonna get us this one and collect that big reward for ourselves.
Hey, just you be careful now. Don't you go fuck it up.
Me fuck it up. You dumb auditor, I suppose you're gonna blame me for lossing up that bounty on that escaped convict, the one that come down from Master County last year.
Hell, who you calling an oddity? If you'd have been awake, you'd have shot that boy, and we wouldn't have had to be out here right now.
Shit, how was I supposed to know he was dressed as a nun?
They get killed. Back to the lab. The game warden's looking at something under the microscope, and this prompts a light bulb over his head, and they go, hey, let's go talk to the originator of the houseboat story and get to the bottom of this. Cut to a cop who finds a boat of the two hunters that got killed. Then abruptly a woman is now skinny dipping. Officer Mike watches pervily. This scene is as boring as the two hunters' dialogue, but at least you can masturbate to it. Buster Crabbe calls Mike, and he misses out on the climax. You see what I did there? A young couple breaks down on the road and they get zombies. Throughout this movie, we keep on hearing that the victims' bodies are drained of blood, and we even see the zombies sucking on the necks. But why are they also ripping apart the bodies and eating fingers and ripping out guts and shit? I don't understand what's going on. And guess what? I'm never going to understand what's going on because they never fucking resolve it. Now, I would say that's a spoiler alert, but how the movie actually ends is going to actually blow your mind, and it's going to be a surprise anyway. So the gang all shows up at the witness's house that watched the comet slam into the houseboat, and she recounts that night. Interior of the houseboat, and these kids are sparking it up. All aboard that's coming aboard to get lifted. The witness and her boyfriend see the explosion from the comet smashing into the houseboat. Boyfriend dives in and gets zombified. Cut to another girl swimming, you know, except for way better tits. Hey, why are you swimming in 2 feet of water? What's wrong with you? Guess what? The woman is then soon attacked by zombies, or ghouls. I keep on saying zombies, they keep on saying ghouls. Let's go, ghoul. Emmett is nearby and tries to help by firing one shot. The gang then shows up and snags him, and then the game warden fires one shot too. The gang eventually pulls over for some reason. I think it's because they see the doctor's car pulled over to the side of the road, so they try to see if he needs help. Anyway, they get caught. They get trapped in a cabin. They make a break for it, but only after losing Emmett and the game warden. With only Tom and Sean left, they fight off a couple more while making an escape in a boat. And then they get really tired. And that's how the movie ends. Buster Crabbe shows up and starts making fun of them as the two float down the river.
These newspaper people are fools. Dreamers and fools.
We're treated to one last scare as a ghoul pops up out of the water and we freeze frame on it. It sucks because I was hoping the ghoul would be like, oh hi, we drink the blood because it tastes like Kool-Aid. Because that's as good as an explanation as anything, because the movie's not going to bother to explain why they kept on drinking blood. And they're also not going to finish the rest of the movie. Seriously though, nothing is explained in this movie. It merely pitches the premise that a meteorite hit a houseboat and created zombies. It doesn't explain that it's some rare space chemical or a space slug burrowing into the brains of its victim, like Night of the Creeps or Slither. It just ends. I guess they didn't feel like it. I guess they just got tired. Tired like dreamers and fools. And then Freddle and Ray went on to make lots of bad movies with horrible premises and lots of boobs and absolutely ridiculous titles. But it was okay because it was meant to be cheesy and also with lots of boobs. The end. So the movie's alright. It is what it is. It's obviously kind of a cheesy homage to Corman movies, hence the Tom Corman character, obviously. So it's fun if you like zombie movies or ghoul movies or whatever, but it doesn't really have much of a rewatchability. It's like I've already seen it about as many times as I need to see it. I'll probably watch it again though, but I'm going to give it a few many years. All right, thanks for watching. Goodbye.